Hey, everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here with the Level Up podcast. And I just want to thank you for downloading this episode and listening to some of the coaching ideas that I'm going to bring with you. If you're seeing this on a video or if you're listening, you probably will notice very quickly that I am going to do this episode solo, all on my own, without any guest or co-host. And I'm doing that intentional because I have something that I really want to talk about that I think needs to be discussed, that needs to be addressed in the industry. So I'm just going to do that. And as you can see in the title is Why Agents Are Struggling in Today's Market. And, what's interesting about the market right now is I'm still looking at Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. And there's a perception out there that everyone's doing really good. But the reality is that when you look at MLS statistics and you look at statistics of individual agents, they're not doing nearly as good as they were in the past. So I want to talk about that, like what is going on that's causing so many agents to struggle in the marketplace. I'm going to simplify this in classic Greg Harrelson style. I like to keep things simple. I'm going to simplify it and say the two things that are really causing agents to fail right now are their habits and their routines. Okay, their habits and their routines. Now, before I kind of get into the nuts and bolts of habits and routines, I want to talk about how did we get here? See, things were going so good just a couple of years ago. How in the world did we get where we are right now? And I think it's fairly simple. If we just kind of hit the pause button and look backwards, we can kind of see exactly how we got to where we are right now. And it really started in the booming years around COVID. If you remember, COVID hit, everybody was probably worried, not only from a health standpoint, whatever your position is on that, but worried from a business standpoint. Some states were shut down. Some companies shut down. Some states we were considered an essential service, so we kept going. But a lot of people didn't want us in their houses. And, at that time when COVID first was announced, it was all over the news. People were freaking out. Not just real estate agents, people all over America were freaking out, maybe even all over the world, for sure. But then it wasn't about 30 days after COVID hit. All of a sudden, the market started taking off. The market started doing the exact opposite of what everyone feared. It started getting busier. It got hotter and hotter and hotter. Then that first year was over with COVID. We're entering into the second year. The market's getting hotter and hotter. Inventory is going down and further down where there was barely any inventory. Agents working with buyers were complaining, gosh, there's nothing for me to show. There wasn't. Or on your way to the showing, it would go under contract and you would get there, write an offer and find out it was already sold. Or multiple offers bidded well over full price. No contingencies allowed, no appraisals. That's a hot market. The challenge is with a hot market, a lot of times we lose or we change our habits. We change our routines. And right now, I'm seeing most agents, no matter what you see in social media, most agents are seeing a decrease in the number of sales, the number of listings, and the number of sales that they're getting each month. This will be a year, very likely, that a lot of agents will see a decrease in production. Again, you don't see them putting that on Facebook and Instagram, talking about how much they're, how much money they're making. You don't see people on social media talking about how much money they're not making. You don't see them talking about, gosh, they're worried about turning in their boats and turning in that fancy car that they bought. You don't see that. But when the market's hot, you see them bragging. But when the market's not hot, you don't see anybody talking about it. That's a sign that people are struggling. And I've been through multiple market shifts. And one thing that I know is every time there's a hot market where agents make a ton of money, it's followed by a cold market or a shifted market when those same agents are having a hard time making money. So again, why is this? Habits, routines. Agents no longer have the habit of making outbound calls to their database. I'm not even talking about cold calling. I'm just talking about, I consult for a CRM, and there's so many people that have all these people in their database. And now, ever since the market was hot, now it's kind of cooled off a little bit. It's amazing how so few agents are calling their leads, their old leads. They're saying things like, these leads are no good, or these people are not going to do anything. But the reality is they're not making the calls to leads that they even bought, that they purchased. They're just not making the calls. Why? Because they lost the habit. In the hot market, they didn't have to make any calls. People were calling them. See, what shifted was the activities in a hot market. When it shifted from not so hot to hot, the agent shifted from activities to non-activities. Now, when the market shifts again and it's a little bit softer, what's interesting is it's very hard for the real estate agent to get those habits back. I always have said this about habits. It's easier to break a good habit than it is to start a good habit. See, we broke it instantly in that hot market. But boy, it doesn't. We can't just snap our fingers and get it back in this market. That's why people are struggling. When the COVID hit, agents went home. Here's the thing. That was the new habit, work from home. The key is the market shifted, but they've stayed at home. They thought it was working. I remember when everybody went home, I said, I know this is not going to be good for people's production, but what ended up happening? Everybody had to go home. We went home and our business went up. And then what happened? Agents believed that they were doing more business because working at home was actually serving them better. Well, there's no distractions. I seem to get more done. Oh, really? Well, it's not showing up in one's production right now, is it? See, that was a habit that was broken. And it was easy to break. We celebrated so quickly to go home. We touted how great it was. Now, all of a sudden, we're home and it's not so great. So what's the next shift you're going to make? Are you going to change your habit back? Most people are not changing their habits back. They're stuck in habits that are not serving them, not making outbound calls. Here's a habit. We used to talk about before the hot market, we used to talk about speed to lead. Lead comes in, we would drop everything, pull over off the road, take that call, respond to that text, respond to that email. But then the market got really hot and we're like, oh, they'll wait, because we knew there was 5 more in line, that there were so many, there was an abundance of opportunities. We kind of got complacent. Now, all of a sudden, market has shifted. There's not an abundance of opportunity for every agent, but we haven't shifted our sense of urgency back. We still have a complacent mindset when it comes to the leads. That's a habit. Sometimes I'll use routine also. Habits and routines kind of go together. Other habits that are broken is like, we broke the habit of calling for-sale owners, broke the habit of calling expireds consistently every day. Somebody may say, oh, I called him this morning. Yes. Did you call him yesterday morning and Friday morning and Thursday and Wednesday and Tuesday and Monday and then every day the weeks before? Or did you find yourself kind of like, man, I need to get some business. So you call them today, but then tomorrow you didn't call them. That's routine. Before the market got hot, we were very robotic about how we did things. We would just show up and do these certain activities. That was our routine. Those were our habits. And then tomorrow we would do it again. In other words, we'd get up and we'd make the donuts. But what I've noticed with the real estate industry, we're not getting up consistently at the same time, and we're not getting in and consistently making the donuts every day. If Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme decide that they're going to be inconsistent at getting up and making the donuts, what do you think that's going to do to their business? Their business is going to fall. That is a routine. That is a habit that must continue no matter what the market's doing. This is why I believe agents are struggling right now. Agents drop their coaching. They dropped their coaches, didn't need it. It was wasted expense. Stopped showing up for their coaching calls. Their coach was holding them accountable. Now there's no accountability. It leads to inconsistent routines, inconsistent building of your business, lead generation. So by sharing with you why I believe agents are struggling, you're probably starting to see the answer for what you need to do if you want to experience a breakthrough. There are agents that are extremely consistent, have wonderful habits, have great consistent routines that are really doing well in this market. Now, for some of you, you may say, Greg, my market's good. Well, really, is it? I can tell you right there now that there's very few markets or MLSs in the United States that are not seeing a decrease in the number of closed sales this year. They saw it last year also. It was probably anywhere from 25% to 40%, depending on what MLS, what market you're in. And the number of real estate agents didn't really decrease by that much. So if the number of transactions are decreasing in your MLS, with everybody can find that out very quickly, knowing that that's the case in just about every MLS in the country. When you think about the number of transactions has decreased in your MLS, but the agents have not decreased at anything similar, then that means the available deals per agent in your market is dramatically decreased. So I know that statistic alone means that agents are not making as much money. Agents are not doing as many deals, just because it would be impossible for all the agents be doing to do much better when there's 30% less sales with the same number of agents. So we know that to be the case. Don't mistaken that if prices are still rising, that has nothing to do with the market that Greg Harrelson's talking about. The market that I'm talking about that is shifted is the number of sales and the amount of commissions being earned by real estate agents. Yes, for the consumer, for a seller out there, they're still getting a good price for their property. For a buyer, unfortunately, they're having to pay more than they want to in today's market. So that side of the market is good. But if you look at number of closings available for the agent, that number has dropped. So from our standpoint, agent to agent, our market has shifted down. From the seller's standpoint, their market, from a pricing standpoint, has sustained or maintained a healthy level. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't control it, so I won't focus on it. But I do know that if we're going to have a breakthrough as an individual real estate agent, then we're going to have to do something about it. And we're going to have to focus on our habits and our routines. And I'm going to introduce the third word, which is our activities. Now, for some of you, you may not know that I do coach real estate agents, okay? I do a group coaching program called Agent Success Academy. And what I'm doing with the people in Agent Success Academy is I'm breaking down all the components of what's necessary to build your real estate business, whether it's a breakthrough from not doing so good to wanting to do better, or whether you're trying to get 100 transactions and more on an annualized basis. I've coached many agents, and I'm coaching many agents right now doing well over 100, 150 transactions a year. So that's what Agent Success Academy is all about. So if you're interested in real estate coaching with somebody like myself, then check out Real Estate Sales Solutions or Google Agent Success Academy. So let's get back to solutions. What should you be doing? What you should be doing is this. You've got to focus on, you got to look at your habits and your routines, and then ask yourself, what activities must I bring back to my business? What are the activities? You want to control the things you can control, and we want to start ignoring all the things that we don't control. So if we control what we can control, we can experience a breakthrough. But if we focus on things we cannot control, we'll continue to stay at a level that we're not committed to. Well, I shouldn't say committed to, because if you're not willing to make change, then that means you're committed to accepting whatever level that you're at right now. And again, I hope that you all are having a great year. But I know one thing that's not being talked about is a lot of real estate agents are struggling. And I know I could coach people on all the sexy things about real estate, and maybe I could sell more, sell more coaching, but I don't do that. I'm only going to coach the truth. And that's why I'm talking about the things that matter, habits, routines, and the activities that you need to start doing that you once did that helped build your business to where it was. So one of the routines, make it your routine to get up 30 minutes earlier. See, just about everybody's getting up a little bit later right now. So I tell you what, here, let's just interrupt our routines. Let's create new habits. How about this? Get up 30 minutes earlier. Just try it for 30 days. Don't reject me. Just try it for 30 days. And then let us know what happens. Put it in your schedule to lead generate for 2 to 3 hours a day. Make that a routine that you bring back. Or if you never had that routine, start that routine. Well, Greg, I don't want a cold call. I said lead generated. I didn't say cold call. That might be that database of buyer leads that you haven't called in a while. Go connect with them, engage with them again. Spend 2 to 3 hours doing that and watch how quickly you'll generate momentum. Again, don't reject me. Do it for 30 days. Before you say this is not going to work, test it for 30 days. Add to your schedule 1 hour of lead follow-up, where you're very intentional about following up for 1 solid hour. Man, poor lead follow-up is the single largest area of loss of income in the real estate industry, poor lead follow-up. So you got to have a good habit, make it a routine. Those would be activities you can put in place. Now, here's some things that you cannot control. You can't control how many expireds there are today. So if you're wanting to call expireds and you're saying, but Greg, there's no expireds, then call somebody else. Do some other form of lead generation. Don't sit there and say, but I like expireds. There are no expireds, therefore I can do nothing. No. That becomes a habit. That's a habit that was formed in the last hot market. You don't control how many expired show up today or withdrawals. You don't control how many FSBOs. So don't hang your whole career off of it. If they're there and you want to call them, then call them. If they're not, then figure out another way to do lead generation. I could talk to you about dozens of ways in generating leads, but the truth is that we've got to establish the habits and the routines. The activities are easy. We've got out of the habit. We've got out of the routines. And getting back the habit or routine, that is tough. I'm not going to act like it's not. But I don't want to talk about the easy stuff that's not going to work. I want to talk about the tough stuff that will work if you will actually get it done. You've got to execute. Again, I mean, I know there's plenty of coaches out there that will talk about things that are the magic pills, the secrets. There are no secrets. There are no secrets on how to build your business. The people that are in your marketplace building a bigger business, they are not doing anything that you don't know can be done. They're just executing at a higher level because of their habits and routines. So let's get back to those habits. Get back to activities that you know that build your production and make that your routine. Make that your habit. So I've given you a little short list of things that you can be doing. The reality is that I don't need to tell you what to do. I need to just urge you to take action. Why are people struggling in today's market? Their habits and their routines that got them to where they were have stopped. All we got to do is remember what you did to grow your business the first time. Go do it again. Make it your habit, make it your routine, and be extremely consistent at it. You have the answer. You've just got to find the fire in your heart that motivates you to take action. So again, I would love for you to join my coaching Agent Success Academy. Just go to Real Estate Sales Solutions. Check out Agent Success Academy. Message me if you have any questions. You can just Google Agent Success Academy and you can find information on it. Again, habits, routines, activities. That's today's episode of the Level Up Podcast. Please hit subscribe, maybe leave a comment, good comment, bad comment, any comment's actually good. It just helps, bubble up this podcast above some of the other real estate podcasts, which helps me, motivates me to keep going. It also helps me get better guests and whatnot to bring you more quality information. I hope something today resonates with you. I'm Greg Harrelson. Talk to you soon.